No question. I'll start here. I'm the biggest basketball fan in this room, probably, and I'm a big fan of both of these teams. It is the most disappointing season that I could ever recall for the Tigers. It is, especially with the expectations. But, you know, I played high school basketball, and I know that three things you have to have. You have to have talent, you have to have chemistry, and you have to have leadership. Now, I'm not questioning Penny Hardaway's leadership, and they certainly had the talent, but they had absolutely no chemistry once they started losing games, and they kept losing them. As far as the Grizzlies, they just didn't have the talent at all to compete in the NBA when they lost all of their good players, starting with Ja Morant. And so you know what you're going to get there. But the Tigers, a colossal disappointment.
Yeah, when you have G League players in crutches,
right.
playing for
even they were getting
it. Yeah, it was just not meant to be this year for whatever reason. But I do agree with your point as far as the Tigers are concerned. What do you guys think about NIL and the transfer portal? It just seems to me like it would be very hard to coach in that environment when players have been, they now have more choices.
You're tempting me to get drawn into the larger conversation about collegiate athletics. I think it's not great. I think Memphis, a place like Memphis, is going to be hardest hit for something like that. The teams fluctuate every year. It's almost like the Redbirds, right? When you go to a Redbirds game, you don't know the players because they're constantly being moved throughout the system. Mm-hmm. I think it's a real problem structurally as a whole, and I think it's a problem disproportionately for a place like Memphis that's not a blue blood program. We have a metro area of 1.3 million people, which is pretty big, but it's comparatively very poor, so we're not going to be able to offer the type of NIL money that a lot of the blue bloods or schools in larger markets can. It's going to be a problem for a long time, and this, I totally agree with you. This has been an incredibly disappointing season. I will say, despite watching I don't know if it was G League or H League, whatever, the H League Grizzlies, it's been great. There's been a lot of diamonds in the rough. Yeah. I think it's going to be incredibly exciting. You're going to have, the core four back next year. Then you're going to have all these guys these young guys who have developed their talent. I think it's going to be really exciting. So it's not been a fun year this year, but for the Grizzlies, I think they're going to be a real contender. I can't wait.
Well, my expectation of the Grizzlies was tamped down anyway because of Ja's 25-game suspension, so I didn't expect them to do much at all. However, the Tigers, I can barely stand to watch the games, man, because I'm so into it. If we start losing, I'm sweating and, saying crazy stuff in the house. But this is what I want to focus on. Anthony Penny Hardaway, 6 straight 20-win seasons as a coach of the Memphis Tigers. No other coach of the Tigers has done that since Calipari. Penny is an excellent coach. He loves those men on the team. And, yep, NIL is going to create an interesting situation. But I think probably we're going to get back to the time when there are more Memphis players on the team who play for pride, who play for the city, and who exceed their own capabilities in the sense of trying to fight for Memphis.
Is that something that can be coached, or is that something that just it's in you or it's not?
I think it's in being from Memphis and being in Memphis. And I think that's why Penny wears it on his sleeve. So they asked him the other day after the game, well, what's the reason? He said, I don't know. And I don't think he does know.
Yeah, I agree. And I certainly agree with you about let's get some more Memphis players on that team. One of the best teams they ever had was 1985 team that went to the Final Four, and everybody on the team pretty much was from Memphis, and even the best player, Keith Lee, was from West Memphis. So we need to do that again. There's still a lot of good talent around here. Let's not worry about going and raiding the transfer portal and bringing folks in who don't have the chemistry that I was talking about.
And gun records and cause all kinds of drama and don't end up staying anyway.
Right.
All right, that's all we have time for, but I want to thank all three of you for being with us today. We really appreciate it, and thank you at home as well. We'll see you next week for ABC24 This Week.